Hello, my dear ones. Well, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. You probably won't get this one probably till next week, of course. Everybody's taken off. And we give our staff 4 days. 2 days, like Thursday and Friday, and then they've got 4-day weekend. It's a lot more fun that way. How are you guys doing? Well, sorry on that, the ketogenic and the acid-base balance type of thing. It's like, after so many years and you see this level of ignorance, and you realize that when you pull back and start watching things, that's when you see things. And man doesn't trust his awareness, which comes right out of the Godhead, over academics. And that's a real problem, and that's what's encased man and created so much narcissism and separation, is the mind. That's what the mind does. It analyzes, it separates, it divides. That's its job, because it's dualistic in its nature. It has two forces that rule it. So you're always going to see the positive and the negative flipping back and forth. If you're involved in the mind that much, you have to pull back from the mind sometimes and let the mind do its thing, but you remain conscious here. You don't always have to put your consciousness through the mind as much as you think. There's a way to do that and still be conscious in the present moment as much as possible. Too much of that. Now, I was telling an individual this the other day, but if you pull yourself into the present moment to where everything you're observing is now, there's no thought of time. You're just being the pure observer, like sitting down and you're sitting down watching a movie. Except this movie has many levels to it, as most movies do. So you engage 5 different bodies to be down in this physical world here. You have 5 different individual sheaths or coatings of protection or bodies. There's a lot of names people give these to experience at this low level of chemistry. The other bodies are at much higher levels. So those of you that are moving on to the next life, be excited, because that's why you want to end your karma here. You want to end your debt here. If you're Christian, remember you reap what you sow. But what that's saying is that when you create something, there's the effect. This is simply cause and effect. And the mind can create all kinds of theories around that, like diseases and all kinds of things when it comes to health. But health is cause and effect. When you understand the journey of microbes in nature, when you understand nature and how it has to be to support its species and all of that, when you look at life holistically, for a healer not to look at life holistically doesn't make them a healer, because they don't have the ability to help you on multiple levels. You notice that a lot of us come to a lot of you guys at night and you have dreams and things because we work on multiple levels. And you do too. It won't be long. Some of you guys, you'll have your friends say, well, you visited me the other night. So that's part of the fun of things. Because if you ain't having fun right now, this world can chew you up. These negative forces are very, very powerful. Just remember, what you're experiencing, you created. Let it go. You don't want it anymore. Ooh, I didn't know I created that. Don't let it register. No matter what it is, don't let it register. Let it go out of you. That's creation. Don't bring creation home with you and wrestle all the positive and negative experiences, because they're just experiences. And they're a dime a dozen. But being awake is not a dime a dozen. So, let's do some Q&A here. Let me catch up. This is a new batch, so hopefully I'm pretty fresh with you guys here. Although there's so many people that I didn't. Matter of fact, I was talking to a young man here on the phone about his grandma. and she fell and hurt her hip. Her upper femur is what it sounds like she broke. Well, she's already done her journey through cancer years ago, and they just saturated her and all this, so they wanted to do a scan, so they did an MRI. As soon as they used the contrast, and I've spoke multiple times about the contrast through the years and how bad and toxic this is. So, and now she just went right downhill with that. So here's from the Daily Mail, and this is Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is suing 11 drug companies for poisoning his wife with an MRI scan. And it's all about the contrast. It is toxic. They've known it's toxic. It's radioactive, of course, radioactive isotopes. I worked in nuclear medicine. Hate it. Scary. And this goes on and tells about all the metals and stuff found from this and the radioactive materials. It just, it's sad when we have iridology that's non-invasive, not toxic. You're wearing your genetics and your lymph system with you. So God gave a beautiful view into the body through the eyes. How ironic and beautiful that is. Not only do you see outwardly, we can see inwardly. I mean, that's too cool. Wait a minute.
Yeah, baby.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, non-toxic, and people don't have to almost die from the dyes and stuff. I mean, obviously, our systems need to be revamped to be more user-friendly. So, I am a pastor, but not functioning. I am massively unwell, massively and in agony second by second. Holy crap. Is it possible to answer a few questions here? Are you kidding, God, man? Absolutely. I am too unwell to search for answers in Dr. Morse's videos, or oh my God, or even by phone. You got a phone number, Mark? You don't have a phone number, Martin. I'll see if we can get a hold of you. I'm sure she's got the original email from you. But there's no, how you going to get this? If you can't watch videos, this is how I answer these. But let's see here, man. I am too unwell to search for answers. I have horrendous brain misery. I have ears hissing. I have some hearing loss. I have cognitive issues with severe memory loss. I can hardly function. I am zoned out like a zombie all day long. I am disconnected and in terrible anguish with these symptoms. It is relentless. I have had Lyme and co-infections, which were the big culprit. Now, remember that the word naturopathy-wise for Lyme's, lupus, and fibromyalgia is systemic acidosis. It's just degrees. And when you get up into these chronic lymphatic stagnation areas of chronic acid stagnation, you're going to feel full bore 3 pH. And these medical doctors that go on about all these acid ash forming foods, they think you can eat anything and your body doesn't get a blowback from that. How stupid can you get? Each species has its own food sources, and we know, I'm farmer, we know if we feed our species like herbivores other types of food, they're not going to do so well. Look what happens when some idiot farmers decided out west that we needed to give our animals more protein, our cows more protein, so they started grinding up Down syndrome cattle, hogs, all types of other animals, ground them up and put them in the cattle feed. That's feeding a herbivore, which is much further away than meat eating than even we are. Their GI tract is 30 sometimes the length of their spine, and their spine is at least twice as long as ours for the most part. You're talking about a very long GI tract with multiple stomachs. You give those meat, and now you got hoof and mouth and mad cow. toxic levels in the cows, making them acidic, doing the same thing to the animals that they're doing to humans. This planet is out of control. The humans on it are out of control, and we have to be the ones to help bring it back into control. Their suffering is enormous, but they blew it back on all of us. So look at everyone out there suffering, and the kids. I'm just talking to Attila. He's got a friggin' 16-year-old with a cholesterol ring. 16! Holy crowley, baloney. I told you. I realize, see, Lyme and co-infections are not the culprit, my dear man. Your lymphatic system is the culprit. Whatever name they want to give the symptoms of stagnation of that symptom, but you're having all the symptoms of it, from brain fatigue to the breaking down of neural functions in the head. None of this is really good. Now, you could have a parasitic involvement, no question, and you could have both. So I don't have a picture of your eyes, but this is pretty serious, my friend. So you really, I don't know how. I'll give this is Thanksgiving, and you're probably not even going to see this video till next week. I know for sure you won't. So this is worrying me here, and I would like to get you taken care of, my friend, but let me see. Needs our help bad. Or if any of you LDs or any of the YouTubers out there know Martin, whoever that is, he's a pastor and not doing real well. So you want to at least start on the 14-week protocol. That'd be the quickest way to get to me, to get to you. Because if you do a 14-week protocol and iris analysis that I do, I'm backed up for several weeks, and it doesn't sound like you want to wait that long. The first thing you want to do when you're in trouble, guys, is shift yourself to the diet immediately. Stop what you've been doing diet-wise. That's the chemistry and energy you're bringing in. And if you don't like how you're feeling, wrong food. So you got to change that. So you want to get on the fruits and the berries. That'll ignite the brain. That's the neural food, is fruit and berries are neurological and endocrine gland foods. We could argue the greens are great for muscles, okay, but you see a lot of the bodybuilders, they use the greens to pop up those muscles, but you can on fruit. But fruit is much more brain and nerve food, big time. We've talked about that many times, and Lou Gehrig's and Parkinson's can't hardly rebuild these guys with vegetables. Does not have the electricity that the fruit does for the nervous system. More and see, I realize it is way more complicated. It involves adrenals, kidneys, lymph. Yeah, you're right on. You're right on, preacher man. Inflammation, etc. You're right on. To start, though, backing this up, to start ionization or hydration, to back this up, you got to start on the diet like now. And the best way is to start just eating. Just go to the store or someone buy you a whole a box of grapes. Get different varieties if you want. Now they're playing with all kinds of names of grapes, from moondrops to all types of names. But play with those. And make sure you try to get organic, because you don't want any pesticides if you're already down, because those are neurotoxins that can bring you down even more. You can eat like something healthy like grapes, because they're loaded with pesticides. You can get this dump. I would be profoundly grateful if you would respond with a few answers. You betcha. Matter of fact, I'll respond if I can get a hold of you and talk to you. I have started the fruit diet. I should read on. With guidance and ordered a Fab 4 Heal All Good Deal. Parasite M, Superfood, and Kidney Batter 2. Excellent. I have been on the diet since September 20th, and the herbs should get here today. Perfect. Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Upper circuit, remember the edge? Upper circuit, brain and nerve. When you're going down, upper circuit, brain and nerve. And if you want to do 2-dropper full, slam them. Who cares? Upper circuit, brain and nerve. It'll pull you out of some major funks. And the brain and nerve is a brain rebuilder, a central nervous system, autonomic. It rebuilds neurons. The upper circulation has that as well, but it also brings oxygenated blood and goodies right into those cells and interstitial spaces, which helps to also create better ionization and more fluidity in the lymph system. At the same time, you got to work down here to open the door so this can drain. When this backs up, you're sitting here. You're trying to drain this, but this is all backed up. So this is why you always work on the kidneys. You always get all this lymph moving and getting yourself sweating so everything can follow its appropriate channels. Work on the neural lymphatic, hot and cold applications to the back. Have someone work on the kidney neural lymphatics. Reflexology, kidneys, feet, kidneys. When someone's going down, you have a million different things that we can do that can help them. That's the beautiful thing about God and nature. It is loaded with feel-good stuff. It is. It's not toxic chemicals and radioactive dyes and crap like that brings people down. It's loaded with feel-good smells and tastes, and some of them can be a little gnarly. Yeah, we have this joke, kind of an ongoing joke around here. Which formula is the most gnarly? My question, because I don't try to make it flavorful, can the protocol over time heal the deep areas of harm done by the psychological trauma? Absolutely, but this is another level you want to work on, and you want to work with the the flower essences with this, particularly moonshine yarrow. So work with those flower essences to get into the emotional components. And I might say you're a preacher man, so this is a one big thing for you. Stop thinking. You want to preach God, stop thinking. Stop teaching from the tree of knowledge, biblically, because that's what brought souls down. It's a natural move anyway into creation, is from the tree of knowledge. So pull back to soul, pull back to pure awareness or consciousness. And preacher man, you will be amazed at the experiences that you can have there. Hi, sweetheart.
I only have a couple minutes, but I want to stop in and say hi.
I already did the one on the...
I know you did. That's good. That's good.
I know, but I was going to tell him, I was hoping you'd stop in and talk about ketosis, because it's like, you read that article and it's like they want to keep you like in the state of ketosis and low blood sugar. I'm going, what? And
I was in the hospital 9 times in 1 year because of ketosis.
Isn't that amazing? Jesus Christ. And when people talk about that, I just...
Now, that was when I was like 15 years old, but still.
Yeah, but still. And that's how scary this is. And when you read what they're trying to do and you know what the body and physiology and all that, right. It's like, what? People come up with these brain things and it's like, this person couldn't have been a medical doctor, could they? Keep you in a state of ketosis? And,
well,
I don't know.
With the way that they just don't know how to connect things.
I know.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
When you have a general practitioner and you've got heart issues and they can't do anything, they have to send you to a heart specialist. Yeah. And the heart specialist, because you're a person that's a diabetic with a heart problem, they can't deal with the diabetes, so you have to go to the heart specialist plus
Isn't that amazing?
The endocrinologist.
And you know what? We do it all. We do it all.
Well, and they're learning.
Yeah.
You guys are learning
how
to connect and put things together. Why this works with this way and why that works that way.
Yeah, and how these symptoms all come, because we do sound like a broken record, no question. Yeah. But when you look at the site of chemistry, we're talking about the acetone, you look at the lymph site, it's just all tied there. Yeah. And the acid ash foods and things like that. So I went over that one too.
Yeah.
I got a little quirky because, this is about the 100th time I've read something like that, where it goes over the acid base, and it says, medically thinking, no matter what you eat, it doesn't affect the blood and all this kind of crap. And it's like, blood's only 20% of interstitial fluid, what about the rest?
Well, it's about chemistry too.
Exactly.
You have a glass of water, and you've got oil, and you've got acid, and you put it in there. The amount that you put in is going to affect how this is. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with the body. You can't not be affected if you put something acidic in, the same as you can't not be affected if you put the alcohol in.
I think they miss because they don't keep up on studies, and I think a big miss that they have is this calcium buffering system. I think that's essential for college professors. Pat teaches it, and I think it's important that professors of A&P start teaching a lot more about the calcium buffering system. So there's a little more awareness that osteoporosis is not a disease, and this guy was hiding under that. He was saying about chemistry and what it does, but then he hid around it's a disease and has nothing to do with your diet, basically. You know, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
You guys all ready for
Thanksgiving? But they're going to get this after. Hey, an organic turkey. No, I can't have organic turkey either. Shiloh Farms.
I'm making a fruit turkey.
I was just thinking a fruit turkey would be cool. Like if I had the...
I'll take pictures.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Good deal.
Yep. So
I'll be interesting to see a big fruit turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even though you're going to get this afterwards, happy Thanksgiving to those who have Thanksgiving, and just happy Thankful Day for those who don't have Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. And have a big bowl of navel oranges and grapes on me.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to stop in and say hey.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, honey. Okay. My question, can the protocol over time heal the deep areas of harm done by psychological trauma? This is what I'm saying. You cannot use the mind, Martin, to overcome the mind. That's a big failing of psychiatry. And when you look at the emotional component of life, again, you can't use the emotions to get over the emotions. If you want to become strong in your emotional stance and in your mental stance, you've got to pull behind them for a while and get control of them. If you're always thinking, you can never become awake again because you're always thinking. That's the tree of knowledge. You're bumping about knowledge. Everything has to be knowledge. You're reading books to see if someone had the experience and you're developing. But what about awareness, which has all the knowledge in it? See, that's the failing, that's the slickness of the mind. The illusionary concept of the mind is that it makes you think that you must study and develop the mind for the answers of life. And the problem with that, the true answers of life are not found in creation. You are the true answer. Go back to Jesus. You're the living truth. I mean, you got to start sometime without ego at the point of back and say, actually, who am I and what am I even doing here? Where do I get my awareness from? Away from thought, away from the mind. Mind has memory, thought, rationalization, comparisons, all the things that deal with duality. A preacher man, a God man, should never teach creation. He should teach his parishioners how to become awake again in the presence of God, in the living truth of it all. And that's only experienced in the present moment. There is no psychological trauma in the present moment. You can warp your mental bodies and emotional bodies way out there. And you can go to a lot of people that have there. I can tell you this. Through the years, I've had more mental health counselors and psychiatrists as clients than you can shake a stick at. Remember, you're generally in the field you need for yourself first. I've always said that because that's what I see all the time. For a few years, I was having a rash of mental health people in here. It's like you're giving other people advice. But, you know, it's just the way it is. And it's time now that all ministers, preachers, priests spiritualize now. Enough of the physical stuff, enough of the crap and stuff. Let's just start awakening the folk. And sounds like you got to get yourself awake here a little bit too, Martin. And get in that upper circuit brain nerd, head on with these other things. Make sure you hit your adrenal glands and keep on down that road. And it sounds like you're already working and going good on this. You'll find yourself pulling out of that. But just out of the pure chance of it, you want to send in your eyes and mark Preacher Man Martin. I'll look at them. Well, if you don't mind showing everybody here what your eyes look like, you can get them done. This is wow, this is the big one. All right, so let's try to go over this one. This is a long one. My name is Sarah Fernandez from Texas. I am 61 years young. I like her already. She's 61 years young. I apologize for my English. Sounds good to me so far. You know, there is no proper English. I know a lot of your English majors are probably going to hit me over the head, but my grandma was a teacher of all grades. And she always thought there was proper English, but boy, when you get out there, it's like, what is proper English? I hate to think I know. Thank you very much for your videos. My son has fixed a lot of all his health problems. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, baby. Thanks to them. That's good. And I love you, young people. Thank you for taking this on and writing these rides, because you guys are suffering. I mean, a 16-year-old with a friggin' cholesterol ring. What do you say, angelic being you? But I don't know what to do with mine, and I am desperate because I have been in a lot of debilitating pain since July. All right, so whenever you're in pain, 9.999% of the time it's acidosis. It's rarely alkalosis in pain. You'd probably go unconscious first, but acids is what is pain producing. So that's the first thing you got to say. Whenever you feel pain, that's acids. All right? All right. Now, where do these acids come from? Well, foods have base chemistry in them and acid chemistry in them. In the process of your body breaking down and utilizing this chemistry, remember your body is a food processor. There are all these residues, metabolitic residues, from this whole process of metabolism. Call them metabolites, whatever. And these byproducts seem to be always acids. If you look at the Krebs cycle, if you look at all these different cycles, then processes, there's always acids being shot off. Some unite and bond with others, and others have to be eliminated. Others can be converted to water and carbon dioxide. So this is a constant production of chemistry and a constant consumption of chemistry. So in this process of constant consumption, manufacturing and metabolizing and producing, and also creating waste, no different than a car burning carbon. That's just what our body is. We're a carbon burner. All vertebrates are carbon burners. Your car's a carbon burner. Carbon is the main energy source of energy in creation, not nitrogen or hydrogen. So, where was I going with that? Sometimes I get taken off. So all these metabolitic wastes from the cells have to get out of the cell, just like you have to poop. Get this waste out of your body. Cells have to get the waste out of their bodies, whether they're so small you can't hardly see them or a foot-long cell. You have to get the metabolitic waste out of them, or the blowback is on the organelles. Whether it's the mitochondria, the chromosomes, it doesn't matter, but that's how you start mutation. Because if we were to examine chemistry spiritually, then you'll find that it isn't just dead. It has an awareness to it. It has an individuality to it. Every single thing that's here has a unique individuality reason for being here. There's nothing here just for the fun of it. Not really. Everything, there's an ultimate reason why these things are here. So it's interesting. But it's enough to say that if you can't remove, and a good example of that, let's say you go to the gym and you're working out, or you had a car wreck, or you just ran around the block a lot, and the next day you wake up really stiff and sore. That's acid. That's lactic acid and a bunch of the other acids from increased respiration and the like. So the point is, and even in athletics, you're creating all these acids and all this athletic activity. The big question, are you eliminating them properly? Because if you do not eliminate acids out of the body, metabolitic acids, which are around 3 pH, right in that category, very painful, that's Coca-Cola acid, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel stiff and tight. Water's going to come in to try to relieve that edema, so you see the swelling. If it's really acidic and your capillaries are thin, you're going to see some bruising, bleeding. Same as getting mucus out of your lungs that have blood in it. This is acid stuff, and acids are corrosive, painful, and there's only one system in your body designed to deal with those, and it is not the blood, and it's not the bicarbonate system. These guys wear that like some badge of stupidity. If that was true, you would never see calcium. You would never have the calcium buffering system, and you never see that system. You can see that system working. That's how you can explain varicose veins, spider veins, petechia, bruising, bruising easy, depression, all the aneurystic and herniated type of issues. Or you could lump them in as a disease and hide yourself away and show your ignorance. People can't handle that ignorance anymore. It's like in this country, drain the friggin' swamp. It's so corrupt, it's unbelievable. And, it's the same thing medically. You got to drain that swamp. It is a nightmare. It's out of control. It's killing people more rapidly than ever before. This is my situation and symptoms. All right, Sarah? I have been pure vegan for 3 years, but I have also been on the fruit, berries, melons, and grapes diet for a few months. Excellent, my dear. I lost a lot of weight, gained energy, and got off all my BP, blood pressure meds. So immediately you know you have kidney weakness, right? All right. Kidney and adrenals, all right. That's blood pressure, kidney and adrenals. Systolic adrenals, diastolic kidneys. So you're going to always see that. So if you're having high blood pressure, you're having kidney filtration problems, inflammation in the kidneys, acidosis, This is why you see the bicarbonate systems, but even the bicarbonate systems in the kidneys have to protect the kidneys themselves. Remember, kidneys deal with the acids, and there has to be some protection of the tissues of the kidneys as well. Some of the bicarbonates are actually for the tissues they're involved in. And again, talking about dumping acids or acid ash into the blood, you can't bicarbonate the blood because you can have a blowback from that. I mean, you got to be real careful in how you understand these things. And I don't even know what happened to the medical world in their lack of understanding of this. I was happy with those results. When winter was coming, I was starting to get tired of the fruits, so I changed to raw till 4 type diet. Raw till 4 type diet. Oh, I don't know what that is, but I guess that's say raw till 4, and then you warm up a little bit. Basically, fruit all day and a cooked vegan meal for dinner. I could get that if you're living up in the northern climates. Steamed vegetables and stuff like that. You don't want to go to warm grains or beans or proteins because these are acid ash forming foods. If you're going to do warm, you can warm vegetables without turning them into acid ash foods, so that is good. In December of 2015, I did a 10-day lemon fast. Oh, this is way back. That ended pulling out a huge mass tumor in my right breast. Oh, Sarah, you are good, honey. Listen to that. In December of 2015, I did a 10-day lemon juice fast that ended pulling out a huge mass tumor in my right breast. I like that. I got scared and stopped immediately. Oh, out of fear. Really? I've been scared of lemons ever since, and I ended ignoring the tumor for a year. Oh, you mean it pulled one up? That ended pulling out a huge mass. Well, you know why that happened? If it's what I'm taking is it didn't pull it out in terms of, the body spitting it out, it brought it up. Okay, so here's part of the problem. It's part of the problem with some of the guys that are doing these extended fasts and water fasts and stuff like this. And it's also another reason that I backed off on 2 lymphatic formulas for a month and a half. Just give them one. People are so not filtering and so lymphatically compromised that I think if we dig too deep, there's nowhere for this stuff to go. And so it's just going to swell up. You should be able to get that out there, though, honey. But don't be afraid to go back on the lemon diet. You might have to, because it's probably the most strongest puller of all the fruit. So you might want to revisit that or do both. Do lemons and grapes back and forth. But go back on I'd put myself on a 15-day grape and lemon fast. or diet. Absolutely. Now, pay specific attention to the kidneys and adrenal glands. Get you 2 kidney formulas, an adrenal formula if you're running low blood pressure. Hitchhike licorice root to that. If you need to, do 2 dropperfuls 3 or 4 times a day. Make sure the GI tract, is clean and moving and all that sort of thing. And anywhere else you have to pick up. And don't ask me why, because I don't know how I did such a thing. I kept the cooked vegan approach all last year. I always ate my fruits and salads. But back in April this year, I was forced to get back on the fruit wagon due to an upper back pain. Interesting. I've been 99% fruit since then with a tomato, well, it's supposed to be tomato and avocado salad every once in a while. That sounds good. Especially good Midwest beefsteak tomatoes. Acidic and nightshade, yeah, I get it. But a big beefsteak tomato ripe off the vine in with fresh avocado, baby. Oh. Once in a while, I admit it, I do really bad. I get this multiple seed bread. Stack a big slice of tomato, that thick, avocados, some Baldalia onions, some bread and butter, pickles. You get those sprouts. Delicious. And red and yellow peppers. That's a good veggie sandwich. Okay, I've been doing this thin with a tomato in it, okay. And even though sometimes I want some cooked vegan soup, I don't. But you could do some carrot soup or squash soup or something like that. And you could even make a sun soup. But I'm not that strict even, but you could. Because I want to get rid of these issues first. Well, remember, most of what you're dealing with is the lymphatic system here, so you got to go back to the kidneys and adrenals. Don't pull too hard. If you guys notice you're pulling too hard, back up. Back up. It'll go down, but back up. Because it's, you're pulling harder than your body can eliminate. And we've talked about this many times, that by pulling harder than your body can eliminate, you can make the tumors grow and lymph nodes swell and stuff like that. It'll come right back down and go right back out, but it shows you the lack of filtration. Even though you might see filtration. And the other concernful thing we have, and I've voiced this many times, is the condition of the lymph nodes. Some people have these lymphatic rosaries in their eyes, and that means their lymph nodes have probably been swollen since mom. So that's a scary nightmare. And then you have these medical doctors that, well, look, the lymph node has a cancer cell in it, which is where it should be, but we'll just take the lymph node out anyway because we don't know why it's swollen. Oh, holy moly. I think these cravings for cooked food are just in my head because cooked food is addicting in a way. It is. But don't let that pull you down because you want to get this breast handled. You want to get this lymph system handled. So let me see if you know where we are now. I can't even finish a whole banana. I'm in my head but now I'm not eating at all. I can't even finish a whole banana. I've only been drinking lemons, fresh orange juice, and grape juice since August. Wow, it's almost October and I'm not seeing any results besides more weight loss. Maybe I'm not drinking enough. No, it's not that. It's not that. Make sure you're not drinking. See, sometimes if you feel like you're plateaued even with the fruits, go up to the watery, more astringent fruits. Maybe do a 10-day lemon juice fast again. Really hit it hard like that. Or lemon grape juice, combination, that sort of thing. Maybe should I be drinking a glass of lemon water or juice every hour? No, not really. No. I'm drinking a glass like every 4 to 6 hours. That's okay. Here's the thing, though. You want to drink when you're hungry, that sort of thing. Use the herbs to affect the cell, structure, function. Use the herbs for that. Go after those kidneys and adrenals, that sort of thing. Even if you just use a few herbs for those specific tissues. So go after that sort of thing. Check your pituitary just in case that baby's kind of holding everything back. Also, I've been experiencing with dry fasting since November 2016 and doing 4, 5, and 6 days dry at a time. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know if I agree with that amount of time doing that. I mean, you can get a lot out. I mean, our friend that parachute didn't open, and he rebuilt himself. Incredible dude. He'd been on, a 12 or 13 day dry fast, and he showed me his urine, and it was amazing what came out of him. It was. I have nothing to say. He's alive and well and not paralyzed anymore, so what are you going to say? Pretty damn good. So what can I say about that? This has helped me a lot, see, so what can I say about that? And got rid of several of my issues. Oh, excellent then. And maybe that's the answer, Such as I got rid of the hunchback. Whoa, that's pretty good. I got rid of the hunchback that I had at the top of my back. Drained all of it. Wow, you were backed up. No wonder your breast blew up, honey. You were really backed up. Smart woman here. This is a smart woman. Fix my weak knees. You're good. Be thinking parathyroid, pituitary, just coming through, so we'll see. That was giving out. And healed carpal tunnel. I couldn't hold anything on my right hand. You see all the things this lady's healing and curing on herself? She's got it. She knows what to do. It's amazing. But even with all of this, the tumor is still there and huge. Well, you know what? You could have a blockage somewhere up here in this chest wall. God, I hate to get you started on that thinking. But you could pull it with a black salve. You might want to call Megan, maybe give her some pictures of that breast so we can see it and see what might be a good idea. We want to see what it looks like. Is it red, hard, not, what, soft, what is it? So we want to take a look at that. And but keep draining, because you just have a blockage here that's feeding this chest wall, and it's common. And another reason, remember, looking at iridology, you see the GI tract relationship to the wall, so you always have to work on your GI tract, sweetheart, to break down these blocked areas. So work on that. You could use the 3-lung tea and sip on that, and you could use the lung. Now, even though we're going here, now the 3-lung tea will work all through your body, but even though we're addressing herbs that are predominantly respiratory, they are also lymph nodes and breaking up hardened sputum. So this could have a good effect at breaking this loose as well. Sometimes we had shared lymph nodes to the lungs, remember? So by opening all this up, could be a good thing for you and get that to drain. If not, and this baby just doesn't want to go down, then you might consider a good black salve. The problem is the FDA, here again, I want my black salve, but they won't let me use zinc chloride. Well, they're allowing nitric oxide, they're allowing these pharmaceuticals, a chemotherapy that kills all these people, but they have a problem with zinc chloride? What? This planet got real bad. I can see why. The troops are coming. Holy crap. I know, here already. Besides that, I have an even bigger problem, my back. I have a sharp upper back pain in the spine, but it's not always in the same place. How can this be? Well, this is the lymph system again, and you've got nerves, so it can be traveling for sure. You can pinch a nerve or anything. So, number one, I love chiropractors if they're good and they know kinesiology. So you might go to a chiropractor and make sure all your vertebrae are aligned or what. Get a how you reverse yourself and hang from your feet. You might want to get something like that and play with that. At the same time, you got to get your lymph channels, which go down your back, opened up. Now, this is where neurolymphatic points are very, very beneficial, and especially in these type of traveling pains. So go start up here in the upper neck and work on these neurolymphatic points up and down the spine. And you can even turn over and do the beside the sternum there. But work on those, and that'll be very helpful. Hot and cold applications to the spine, because what you're trying to do is loosen, hydrate, filter all those things you would associate with agglomulation, dehydration, stiffness, tightness, and pain. We've got to walk to the opposite side to rectify that, right? It's simple and easy to understand. So the two sides of chemistry give you both of those experiences. It's that simple. And if others can't get with it, don't worry about it. You get with it and save your world. You did well, dear one. The pain is constantly moving around on both sides of the spine, but I'm also feeling a constant burning sensation. Burning is acids. So it just is corroborating your problem here. All the things you're telling me with the breast and the swelling on the hip, it's just corroborating that you're having a hard time getting your lymph system to filter. Now, you could be filtering incredibly so on one side and not at all on the other. So remember that. You've got two kidneys to deal with here. I'm also feeling a constant burning sensation, like my back is on fire. It is on fire. Remember, you have your channels down the spine there, so you're burning. That's lymph stagnation big time. And of course, that invokes the calcium buffering system. This is why you see the spine do what it does, and yet you get spinal spurs and things. It sucks it right out of the structure, and then ionizes and becomes a rock, a spur. I mean, this happens with kidney stones and everything else. What happens in the presence of acids is agglomulation. Gallstones, kidney stones, all types of stenosis, hardenings, all of those things. All happens in the presence of acidosis. Think what the side of chemistry called acids do. What's their effect? What do we see in chemistry on that side? Sometimes I even have pain in my chest between the two breasts. Yeah, I mean, work on these neurolymphatics, sweetheart, and get your lymph system moving. This is your lymph system. It's blowing back on your nervous system a little bit, no question. Like a pulse that is also making my breathing very difficult. Yeah, and work on your GI tract and stomach. You got some stomach, I think, and you want to fix that. Finally, I am extremely dehydrated. I could have guessed. And have water retention in my legs. Dear one, this is kidney failure. You have kidney failure. Whether your creatinine is way up there or not, you are having kidney failure. You want to work on your kidneys and love them to death. Watermelon season comes around again someday, and you can never find anybody that grows good watermelon anymore. Dive in. Another thing you could do, I wouldn't go 3, but I'd try a 2-day beet juice fast. One, if you can make it 1, I'm pretty happy with you. I did a 3-day. I wouldn't recommend a 3-day. That one's a rough one. But it's for liver, kidneys, and it'll rake you clean. So, think about that one. But you really want to get up on the lemon and grape and stuff like you're doing there. But you need to use the herbs on the kidneys. It sounds like you've got some serious kidney weakness going on here. Everything you're saying, the edema in the legs and that sort of thing, the shortness of breath would be the adrenal glands and low neurotransmitters. See how low your blood pressure goes. And you want to check both arms with your blood pressure, guys. You have 2 adrenal glands and 2 kidneys, whether they believe it or not. And, when you drop low in neurotransmitters, you can't take a deep breath. That's asthmatic, COB type things. That's neurological problems. And the breathing is a neurological event. So when you weaken your nervous system, and some of you young guys and gals, you're going to have this already coming out of mom. And that's the problem. There's so many of you already neurologically compromised, coming out of surgeries. There's one girl was shot in the face and was on Dr. Phil, and over 100 surgeries. You can imagine how much propofol that she's had, and it's like, holy crap. But I have noticed that the pain goes away when I'm dry fasting. Isn't that funny? But when you eat food, you invoke digestion, and invoking digestive juices, whether they're acidic or alkaline, you have a blowback from that. It's interesting. That's why in nature, when you get sick, you're pretty much fast. Nature, you just don't get hungry. Anybody ever try to, your animal gets sick, you ever try to feed them? They refuse to eat. They let the body heal itself. What was that, medical doctors? They let the body heal itself. What's that again? They let the body heal itself. To not understand the body in its wise wisdom is to insult the Creator. My opinion. But as soon as I break the fast with fruit or fruit juices, the pain returns with more intensity. But this tells you got to keep going. Keep going. Use the antispasmodic if you want for the pain, or you could couple the antispasmodic with the pain formula. That should help. But I would try the antispasmodic, see if that'll help with that. And keep on trucking down the field of detoxification and regeneration, because it's the only answer that fixes these things. Plus, the back pain has practically immobilized me. I walk very slowly. You want to make sure your chiropractor keeps your spine in straight. But I need help to go to my car to go to work. But sitting down in a chair for 8 hours with this pain is like torture. You've been to a chiropractor to see if you have compression or what? But I have to work or I will become homeless. I don't know how long I can keep going like this. It feels like everything I do is not enough, and I feel like giving up. I tell you what. Why don't you come off the lemons? Try apple juice mixed with grape juice. And step down to some green drinks and see if you have the same pain. You know, these lemons are very aggressive. And they're acidic, although their ash is alkaline. So you really, I think, back off the acid fruits. If you got that much pain moving around like that, back off the acid fruits. Make sure you're on a full-fledged herbal program. I'm serious. Go after the GI tract. That stomach could be a big signal of all your problems here. Radiating to the back. Remember, that's the head of the autonomic, the seat of the autonomic nervous system. And it can send pains shooting everywhere in the body and all types of wacky things. But you definitely want to make sure chiropractically that your spine is straight. And if it keeps moving out, keep working this. And by cleaning the body, the muscles on each side of the spine will strengthen, and it'll start holding the spine more in shape as you strengthen the spine. The other thing you might want to check is the parathyroid gland and calcium utilization. You could have very poor calcium utilization, which is going to continue with the pain here. So check the parathyroid and pituitary on you as well, my dear. And the bone, skin, burn skin salve. It's called burn skin salve. Put that on your spine over where you're feeling that. Even if you put it all down the spine, let that absorb in. It's major comfrey. All the good healing herbs in it. Anti-inflammatories. And I would use that. It got some oils as anti-inflammatory. So use that burn skin salve anywhere you have pain over that area. That's topically. On the inside, you're doing the same thing, but you're using the diet and herbs to go after this. Like I said, thinking about this, what you're saying, I'd probably come off the lemons. Anything that's that side. I mean, I want that tumor out of there, no question. But you got to weigh that also with the pain in the back and everything. It sounds like up here, you're really backed up lymphatically, and you feel it in the spine, the breast, lungs. Yeah, so one lymphatic formula, I would make it a lymph node 5. Make sure your kidneys, 2 kidney formulas, adrenals with licorice. Go after the GI tract, upper circuit, brain and nerve. I do upper and lower circulate. Well, no, you got a tumor in the breast. And I do upper circulation at least. But go after your GI tract. That can block breast drainage or any drainage in the body. I don't know how long I can keep going like this. It feels like everything I do is not enough, and I feel like giving up. Well, honey, if you read back on what you're saying, you corrected a lot of things. You've done really well. You've corrected a lot of things. You're fighting your lymph system, no question, as we all are. Back up a little bit on pulling on it, and with these strong astringents like that, with the exception of lymph node 5. And work with the herbs and stuff on this and the salves and stuff and see what you can get done. And let us know how you're doing on that. And if you need help, you call in and get one of us to help you there, okay, honey? Jonathan, is this you, Jonathan, from Canada? Hey, Shannon, I thought I would share this with the guys at the clinic. I know Dr. Morse has had a lot of good results with MS cases, but he had mentioned that he hasn't had some with Parkinson's. However, we've talked to him about this one. Stuck on the diet that he's been working. Jonathan gets all these radical cases. He's up in Canada, and he calls a fair amount, and I'm proud of this young lad. He's done very well. Had some tough cases. Won some, lost some, but getting real smart and real strong. So someone with Parkinson's stick on the diet and the program long enough to have a huge turnaround, so I thought I'd share this story with you with a client I've been working with Parkinson's in his mid-60s with same and several months ago who was freezing. He came to Jonathan several months ago. He was freezing up all the time and completely uncontrollable tremors and crying every day, very depressed and pretty much given up with Parkinson's. Anyhow, say him today, after working with him for several months, and the freezing has completely stopped. The tremors are down to maybe a quarter of what they were and getting better every day. His headaches are a fraction of what they were before, including the pain in his abdomen. He's having a bowel movement 2 to 3 times per day after not being able to go every 3 or 4 days when he first came in. He's sleeping better. He's managed to get cut down on the Parkinson's meds by half and actively titrating off of them. And he's back out exercising again regularly and smiling and laughing all the time. 5 gold stars, Jonathan.
Well, yes.
Damn, that's good, Jonathan. With a new lease on life. Actually, he actually has created another problem with him having to reinvent himself as to what he's going to do next, as he's coming to the realization that he'll be around quite a bit longer than he had thought. How about that? Obviously, some work to be done still, and it's in his hands how far he wants to continue and take this. Now, you hear what Jonathan said? And this is Jonathan is getting a wise healer. Obviously, some work to be done still, and it's in his hands how far he wants to continue and take this. Good job, Jonathan. I know I'm not the one who is doing this for him. More just witnessing something amazing, but it feels so. No, if it wasn't for you, Jonathan, he wouldn't have the knowledge and awareness and also the cheerleader that you are to do this. And so don't sell yourself short, Johnny. More just witnessing something amazing, but it feels so cool to be part of something like this, don't it? That's why I'm saying being a healer is the most worthy profession out there, especially when you can cure, next one cure, next one cure, next one cure. There's going to be some souls that it's their journey to go on. They've allowed too much to happen to their bodies, hard to get them back, but it's time for them to go on and get a new body. Have fun. The adventure goes on and better. So don't get upset. Kiss the babies goodbye and go have some fun. Because this level is a nightmare compared to some of the other levels. This is I mean, it's got its greatness. More just witnessing it. For fun, we're playing to see if he can get his driver's license back, and it's not like he has anything to lose. You know, this is what life's about, getting your life back from some of these most invalid positions, getting it back. Where do you hear that medically? You don't. There is no cure for any of this medically because it's the wrong thinking. I will keep you up all informed. The family's blown away so far. So cool. What is possible? People really digging in and doing the work. Much love, Jonathan. Too cool, ain't it? So there's your Parkinson testimony. It's pretty good.
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F. Yeah!
Good girls. Good girls. Erica? Hi, Dr. Morse. I'm currently dealing with interstitial cystitis. So interstitial, what's that mean, guys? Around the cells, right? So remember, we talk about, here's the bladder, right? Cystitis is about the bladder, right? And itis is acidosis. Their word inflammation, but you guys know the truth of it. Itis is acidosis. Inflammation. But inflammation is a natural response by their body. So what it really is is a case of acidosis interstitially. But to have acidosis interstitially, that means around the cells. That means that there has to be some stagnation to that system in those tissues, because that's what inflammation is proteins and acids. So when you feel that, that's saying that your lymph system in the bladder cannot take the metabolitic waste from the cells that make up the bladder to the respective lymph node. Your bladder isn't dumping these 3 pH acids right into the urine. It goes through its own lymph channels too. Because again, 3 pH is what you're feeling a little bit here. And the problem is then they enter the antibiotics. The problem with the antibiotics, it kills the bacteria. And itises are not about bacteria at all. It's about acidosis. And the bacteria is what helps to break down the acids. So by using antibiotics, you're killing the bacteria. Now you have nobody to help you break down the acids. So it's full bore 3 pH. Thank you. No thank you. And so this is part of the problem with suffering like this, honey. So cool yourself down. I'd sip on the 3-lung tea, maybe a combination of 3-lung tea, and you can do this. 3-lung tea, and you can do the heal-all tea. That's got the marshmallow, the slippery elm, a little bit of plantain to pull. It'd be a good combination for you. And sip on that tea. Get those teas out through that bladder going. At the same time, get on the kidneys, a couple kidney formulas, adrenal glands, get those adrenals up, so you get those steroids up, get the bowels opened up and going, get your skin sweating. Go after these areas that deal with the bladder and the feed to the bladder. So that's what I would do with that. You know, sipping marshmallow tea, slippery elm tea, the heal-all tea, which has those 2 in it, the 3-lung tea. Mullein is anti-inflammatory, breaks up hardened sputum, so you can drink mullein tea. But anything like that, the herbs are great as anti-inflammatories and to cool yourself down. Needless to say, I wouldn't do any proteins, or you're not going to be a happy woman. The other thing is, I would probably stay away from too acidic a fruit. That's because you just got an acid, you want to feel it. Cool yourself down. Use some apple juice with cinnamon in it or something like that to cool everybody down a little bit. Your slippery elms, like I said, marshmallow teas, mulleins, these are all nice antacid type herbs. Yeah, and you'll get it. You'll get it down that way. If you have to shift from fruits down to green drinks, okay. You know, but keep detoxifying and get that. All right. So she's also dealing with a condition of the female parts. And we've had this before quite a bit. A couple of you ladies, I don't know if I should mention any names, so I won't, but you know, so bad you're bedridden, couldn't wear pants or panties or anything anymore because of so much pain around the vulva and all that. So this is all acidosis, honey, and if you don't get this out of there, you'll deteriorate the vulva, you'll deteriorate the female part and the bladder as well. So I would douche for 2 weeks, 1 time a night. I made the heal-all tea for douching because if you have this inflammation there, that also tells me your vaginal wall is also probably backed up lymphatically. Sounds like your whole body's backed up lymphatically. Get this out. Get this out, you know, because this is not fun for anything, and then a woman can't have any pleasure because of the pain. So this is real serious stuff, and walking can be a problem. So, you know, you could use a pad and use or use the burn salve on your female parts down there. Just use that burn skin salve. Keep that all over there and let that soak in and take all that acid out of there and heal that a little bit. But again, you've got to get the kidneys and bladder filtering. Some dry fasting wouldn't hurt, just like you hear what I'm reading, and go after this because nothing good comes of this. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And for females, that's not good. And I don't even know what this is. I have hydrosalpinix. in my left tube from a previous infection and pelvic adhesions. Holy crap, honey, you're loaded. Your lymph system's a mess. You're welding yourself. Do you have endometriosis as well? I mean, you could start welding your tubes and everything else together with things. I mean, acids are very serious problems. Corrosive, they're welders. That's why you see the uteruses welding themselves to bowel walls. A lot of surgeons, when they do hysterectomies, have to cut the uterus off the bowel wall and weld itself to it. Acids. That's serious stuff out there. And for a big modality like the allopath not to get with this, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, let's go on. I'm on a raw food diet now, and I'm also taking aloe vera, smart, a marshmallow root, smart for the bladder. You guys are so smart. I love you guys. I'm also douching with heel all tea. If I just read on, God, we're all getting on the same wavelength, baby. That's cool. Boy, you can't beat us healers now. I'm telling you, there's nothing they can say or do, because we're healing people up all over the place, and you guys get it. It's awful hard to get somebody with truth down them. What are you going to say to someone if all you're based them on lies and narcissism? How are you going to deal with truth? Good job. Good job. The past few months, I've been in a state of severe anxiety. Well, you know what's down then. Your adrenals are way down. It might be why your steroids are down a little bit too. So your neurotransmitters are down with that symptom, but the steroids can be down. So that affects utilization of your minerals and sugars, but also anti-inflammatory power. Progesterone, cortisols, they're also antacids. So you might be down with that, not helping the bladder with that too. So the bladder's left to be a little bit. I am doubling that I can heal. I am doubting. What? That I can heal because I have had so much damage done to my body.
No.
You can heal.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. When you start getting into scar tissue and stuff, it just take a while. But your body will chew scar tissue right back up as it creates. It's just extra cells, just as it made it. As I said, bone does it all the time. Whenever you fracture a bone, it'll build a lot more bone or cells around the fracture. And when the coast is clear, it'll eat them right back up and it's all smooth and clean again. You got to realize the body is an incredible healer in and of itself. We have to guide it with proper chemistry and things. So never think your body's too damaged. That's a negative, and that puts you in a negative light. And you don't want to live in that world. If it takes you a year or two to get rid of adhesions and stuff, okay. 2 years, 3 years, okay. But look at the alternative, guys. Look at the suffering that's out there. And some people get themselves so far involved, they have a hard time getting back. Not worth it. Food's not worth it. Because fruit is so delicious. And if we can just get these farmer guys and gals to start raising better food and picking more ripe and the grocery stores and everybody getting with this, realizing that this is man's nectar, this is man's health is what he's eating. I mean, we went to canned goods, we went to everything. I mean, look at most grocery stores. Little bitty produce sections and everything else is canned or frozen or something. Frozen, I get that. But the predominance is canned. Is it possible for my hydrosalpinix to heal and the pelvic adhesions to go away? Oh, you betcha. And can this be causing my interstitial cystitis? The system down is causing all those things. In other words, it isn't your pelvic adhesions and whatever the what do you got? A prolapsing, a narrowing, adhesions. They don't cause it. What's causing all of those is the same system, different locations. Now, I have to say this. You probably have some genetics in the wall of the bladder, and the best way to do it, go to your eye. Go get a picture of your iris and look at the bladder. All right, it's just kissing 4 o'clock. Just kissing that. No, just kissing 5 o'clock. And on the left eye, it's just kissing what? 7 o'clock on the other side, just on the other side of 7. See where you go. See what's going on. I feel so damned. Don't feel so damned, honey. You don't feel damned. This is the curse of karma. And unfortunately, you young ones have to come through your family chain of karma and write out mom, whose most lymph systems nowadays are a mess. They're not filtering. If mom isn't filtering, what's happening to your lymph system as a baby, it's not filtering. So you see why you come out already compromised with skin and tumors and all this other stuff? So this is a whole awakening process that has to happen to the humans so they can understand how they're creating all this. And it isn't helpful when you have this allopathic group saying, don't worry about it, it's not anything you're doing, these are diseases. Holy moly. That's dark agey stuff. Just to let you know, before I got all these conditions, I had a lot of symptoms that something was wrong. I had acne, lymph, rosacea, lymph, chronic hives, lymph, brittle fingernails, acid lymph leaching calcium, chronic UTIs, lymph, yeast infections, lymph, hair loss, lymph. Holy crap, I sound like a broken record. Well, there's only 2 fluid-based systems in the body that affect the cells, you tell me. Is it your water? Is it your blood? Or is it that massive sewer system that deals with the metabolitic waste, the acids of the body? That's how easy this is. You guys get it. So all you described to me was acid, rosacea, acid, start picking, hot and cold. I used to have it real bad. These are lymph channels, lymph channels, lymph channels, lymph channels, lymph channels, lymph channels, lymph channels. Chronic hives. Brittle fingernails. I can tell you this, you probably have chronic yeast problems. I would do Parasite M, a dropper and a half to 2 dropperfuls, 3 or 4 times a day for about a month or 2, and with that I'd probably do Parasite G, about 3 or 4 capsules 4 times a day, and go after your parasites a little bit. At the same time, you know where I'm going, kidneys, adrenals, lymph systems, GI tracts, hell yeah. I mean, you're really involved. Brittle fingernails. Now here's another where you get to see the calcium buffering system. What takes the calcium out of your fingernail matrix? Acids. Chemistry does not dictate alkalis leaching alkalis. In other words, an alkali doesn't leach the electrons out of another alkali, as far as I know. Maybe it's possible. But this is more responsive magnetically to protons. Like doesn't attract like, opposites attract. So that's what holds things together anyway, is the ionic bonds of things. And that's when you start stealing electrons from your elements. And creating, compounds and molecules, and, getting bigger and bigger into organs and glass cells, and, everything starts stacking up. Tear it all apart, you get right back to the elements again. Subatomic particles in the elements again. The colloids. But right there with brittle nails and ridge nails, you can see the calcium loss. Get that back, stop that, get your parathyroid working good and everything, and these will come wicked. They'll become strong as all get out. Yeah, that's easy to strengthen your fingernails and stuff. But also look with that at the spider veins or varicose veins, because you're losing calcium interstitially. In other words, you should not be eating acid ash forming foods. It's taking its toll. And it's systemic. I mean, if this idea that what you eat has nothing to do with your health, oh my God. That is sitting on top of king size stupid. But it is true that what you eat has nothing to do with diseases. Do you see how slick they are? Because diseases is totally a fabrication of the medical mind. That's their fabrication. A medical doctor says, look, I'm Robert Morse, and I'm going to put that on endometriosis. I'm going to give it a name. Morse syndrome. It's just endometriosis. Well, what's that? It's just lymph stagnation interstitially in the uterine wall. No, it's a Morse syndrome. You got a disease. You see where I'm going with that crap? But I can sell you a treatment. When I call it a disease, I can sell you a treatment. Remember what the head of the AMA said to 60 Minutes. Let buyer beware. That's how they see you out there. The allopathic community sees you as a buyer. And when you see all these sweet little people that are so unconscious and they walk up thinking they're these magic doctors, that buyer beware. So obviously something has been wrong with me for a while. There's only so many things that can go down in the human body, guys. There's only so many body parts and so many systems. It's only a few. Anything you tackle seems massive at first, but when you start looking at the body, get A&P for idiots or something, anatomy, physiology, and just start reading it on your off time. Fun stuff. It's easy to understand, and put it in the context of fun stuff. Like kitchen, bathroom, but I can tell you, most medical journals, and when you read them, and when you read A&P books, professional teacher instructional, and I got plenty of them, they don't cover the lymph system. Not much. And you can really see it in its thread through physiology. You can see the lack of that understanding. And everything is born back on the blood then. Okay. So obviously something has been wrong with me for a while. Please tell me if, with everything I've been through, if I'm capable of being 100% healthy again. I'm so depressed over this, I feel like I have PTSD. Honey, grab your adrenals by your hands and get yourself strong, honey. And the best way to get yourself strong is work on your adrenals, kick back from your emotions and your mind, work in the now, know that you're just dealing with some systems down in the body, genetically probably. Get a picture of your eyes, learn iridology, it's simple, we teach you here. And oh look, everything is fixable. If you don't live in that world, you live in hell. And that's where some people would like to keep you. I'm here to get you out of it, if you haven't noticed. And so is my little friends. Even the 18-foot ones. Oh, Kaylee. Hey, Kaylee. Can you tell me about fertility in women? How does detoxing and living on a raw frugivorish affect reproductive system for men and women? Excuse me. Well, the problem with the fruitarian lifestyle is that fruits and berries are more brain and nerve foods. So they turn you on here. They open your consciousness up. It's like you've been sleeping, and then when you're used to fruits, and then you go down to salads. Marcy just had a big salad for lunch, and she says, I'm so tired, I can't even raise my head up. I said, been there, done it. I have to be careful because even a salad can make me tired. That's because we're used to running high energy. And salads are not high energy food. They're higher than grains and beans and dead animals. Yeah, but for the Homo sapien, the brainers on the planet, you need the energy, the magnetic energy. And if people don't understand that, you've got to study a little chemistry and physics together. Electromagnetic energy, chemistry, full of it. And then you got your electrical impulses from ionization and all this stuff like that. So the electrical movement of electrons and stuff. Fun stuff. If you really study, it's kind of fun to study all that stuff and see how life is a little bit here. But a little is all we know. So I can say this. It doesn't turn on the gonadals well. I've said this many times. It's hard to get turned on down here when you're up here all the time in these high levels of consciousness. I've always said if you want to have good lovemaking, eat a piece of dead animal or something, to turn on the lower gonadals, that sort of thing. But in reality, your experiences with each other should never bind you. A woman's love for a male should set him free. A man's love for a woman should set her free. A woman's love is binding. She is the binding wire, or the binding energy of the physical universe. Without the feminine principle, we have nothing but chaos, acids, and maleness. The male energy is the acid side of chemistry. So you can see that the feminine side is vital to happiness, to health, to love, to the heart chakra. However, you ladies have to be careful, because your love can become emotional love, and you trap yourself. And you trap yourself with your man. I've seen men beat the holy crap out of their women, and they keep coming back. Not good. We each need to develop our individual strength as an individual, and then enjoy our individual sexes for however you wish to do that. Nobody's judging. That is of God. God doesn't judge whether you're gay or not gay, or it doesn't matter. Nothing matters like that in nature. It just is. It's only your conditioned mind that judges, and it judges per your conditioning. Like Christianity conditions your mind on morality. But these are moralities based upon I don't know what. So the morality is somewhat good in the sense that it keeps people from hurting other people, but if you take a look at it, we've dominated in Christian belief in this country, and we're pretty violent. The Christians and Protestants in Ireland and stuff have been fighting for generations. At one time, Christianity was as violent as ISIS, burning all the libraries and destroying the books of knowledge, so no one would have any access to anything other than their teachings. So religions have been there to also limit and hold man back in a lot of ways. It doesn't allow you to experience heightened states of awareness. And a good relationship between a man and a woman, or two men or two women, are incredible when it is from a heightened state of awareness. When you keep your individuality, you keep your high ability to give love, and you can give as much love to another being as you can. Don't lose yourself in doing that. Don't get too absorbed. If you do, pull back. You can unite as one, but retain your individuality, or you fall right back into emotions, jealousy, and all these things again. And in the long run, most relationships don't last anymore. So enjoy your relationship in the moment. Enjoy the relationship of another being on their own journeys. And when that relationship is done, kiss them goodbye and go on and seek another. You know, no one says you have to live forever with one soul. You know, and when you do that, it can stifle your spiritual growth, especially if you allow your bonding to take place on the lower levels of the emotions and the mind. If you keep your relationship between each other on a high level where you give total respect to that individual, you love that individual because they're the individual and you like everything about them, you're not trying to change them, you're not trying to mold them in what you want, you're enjoying them for the individual they are, that makes for a good relationship. As soon as you want them to change or be something else, that's when things start happening trouble-wise. So know who you're getting involved with before you get involved. The problem out there, a lot of people wear masks. They're looking for someone and they will be whatever you want them to be until they feel they've hooked you, and then they take off the mask and this is who I really am. You don't want to get involved in that. That's bad karma for yourself, and you can spend quite a while paying back for that. You always want to be from the heart, loving and truthful. Now, you can rest truth on, is it true kind, is it true, is it necessary? You don't always have to rip someone wide open because it's true. Is it kind and is it really necessary when you talk? I've said this before you speak, is it kind, is it true, and is it really necessary? You're going to say what you're going to say? Now, these are just good spiritual states to use and tools to use to help you to pull yourself into the heart areas, the divine love areas. And the female has an incredible potential to tap into this huge divine love called consciousness. And it is overwhelming, overpowerful. But if you're a woman that is short, remember the pituitary. If you're having a hard time conceiving, guys, remember regenerative detoxification. The pituitary is easy to fix. It's easy to get a woman to conceive. You just don't want to conceive. You want to get everything healthy so you can carry to term and have healthy babies. You want to fix your genetic weaknesses and get your lymph system as clean as you can. Remember, what you're passing on to your babies there, that makes that soul suffer. Or it makes that soul enjoy its ride. So you're the one that holds the key to that. So there's a lot of this sometimes between the children and the parents karmatically. Generally, these are souls you've been traveling with for some time anyway, to tell you the truth. But it's enough to say, and sometimes, in some lifetimes, some parents have to get rid of their children. This sounds real brutal, but sometimes you have a child that is a soul that is antagonistic to you big time. It sounds really wild, but there are some parents that are born with souls that they can't control, that have never been here on this planet, that can be very unruly. So there's times where people have given up their children because of that, and of course other reasons, of course. But working on your health and getting yourself awake will build for incredible relationships in the future. And these incredible spiritual relationships make energy vibrate through you. You quiver with energy and love and happiness and joy. That's the only reason you want to share time with someone, because when you share your time, you're giving up your aloneness. You're giving up part of your consciousness to share with another one. They're going to take a lot of your attention. Be sure you're willing to give it up. Because the more you give up your attention and your love and your desires, the less you know who you are anymore and where you come from or anything about yourself. You become a leaf blowing in the wind. You've given away your joy, your emotions. So if your mate is unhappy or a negative person, they're going to take you on a roller coaster ride because you gave them your emotions. They're holding your emotions and they're riding with it. Talk to the hand, the face isn't lifting. I'll give you my divine love, but I'm not going to give me away. You have to. It sounds cold at one level, but it's incredible, energetic, and beautiful at another one, and it lets everybody survive at higher levels of experience. Because in the final analysis, no matter how much you love someone or pull someone around you, when it's time to leave this planet, you're going alone. All right? Now, remember those, in getting fertile, you've got to, go after the endocrine glands, having healthy endocrine glands. And of course, with a woman on a fruitarian lifestyle, her periods are so much nicer. She spots, she's cleaner. It's just all the things that a woman would want out of this whole process is found in that lifestyle, in the raw food lifestyle, and a lot in the fruitarian lifestyles. There has been thought by some of the great fruitarians that there could be this immaculate conception level to where the energy is so high that it's just an energetic exchange fertilizing the egg. I'm just saying, you're talking about the worlds of God. Anything is possible and plausible. Anything. Anything you can imagine exists out there somewhere. And when you see millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of galaxies that are bigger than our Milky Way by multiple times, and some of these constellations have hundreds of planets, and you understand that in frequencies there's life. Where isn't life? That would be a bigger question. All right, now, all the older ladies at work see me bring all my juices, orange, grape, and herbal teas and herbal caps and tinctures. They like sitting me down to talk to me about health risks and dangers of being a raw foodist and occasional detox. Dangers? What's dangerous is them not practicing it on their own. There's nothing dangerous about detox. That's nature. Nature detoxes. We're just assisting it. We're just giving you the proper foods that your body was designed to eat. That's all. That's all you got to do out there. Bottom line is just shift your diet to a living food diet. And when a lady or someone sits around and says raw foods are going to hurt you, it's like you need to have your ears candled, and maybe you need to get your head out of your ass, because that's ridiculous. I mean, to say something stupid like that, they don't think. Like cooking food makes it better, they don't realize. They don't realize what they're saying. What happens when you cook your food? What happens to the water-soluble vitamins and constituents? You destroy them. What about your oil-solubles? Bonds them. Oh, that's better for you? I mean, it's amazing. And almost all that you cook makes it more acidic. Even though I don't think you make steamed vegetables acidic, but you do tend to make it more toward that way. So these people that sit down, turn it around on them, sweetheart. You start educating them. Say, you know, ladies, maybe you need to change the way you perceive things, because this is why others are suffering and I'm getting healthy. And, you know, I appreciate the fact, Carly, that you're doing it and showing others that you're doing it. That's how you do this. You stand up and you do it because you know it works and you feel good, and most of you are getting your things cured up really well. And that is proof in the pudding.
Yes.
I try not to laugh. I don't blame you. I don't blame you, because I try to too. I mean, when people are sitting there and I'm going, are you serious? You really believe that? Amazing. One's daughter is in the health industry and very educated apparently, and she keeps trying to diagnose me. Yeah. You know, but Carly, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all of you guys. You guys, you have to understand you're the future. These poor young kids and these, at every age. I mean, we're getting them in the 50s and 60s dying. 50s and 60s dying like crazy. I think what's his name just died at 67. Partridge Family guy. Yeah, you know, when you abuse the acids, that's what you get. Kidney failure, organ failure. I mean, that's where acids take you, into failure of tissue. So I can't understand why there's so much praise for the protein and the acid side of chemistry. Medical doctors recommend it, now naturopaths recommend it, and everybody's getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I for the life of me, can't imagine naturopaths not reading naturopathic books. And these are all narcissistic people, though, these naturopaths, because they want to be medical doctors, want to be. And it's like, are you serious? You don't want to be a medical doctor. They don't know anything. They don't know how to fix anything. Why would you want to be that? Narcissism, money. So that's the only reason you would want to be one. So I'd rather teach each and every one of you, whether you're a student in school, whether you're a housewife, whether you're a rocket scientist, so to speak, or whether you're a stem cell scientist, which we've already done. I want to show you how to cure all your friends and yourself of anything. Yeah, it takes a little work here and there. Okay, what doesn't? So, with great love to each and every one of you, let's end the day by a quiet moment of repose. And with the heart in the background and great love from all of us here,